But first, Britain's richest plumber, Charlie Mullins, has revealed his plans to leave the United Kingdom, citing high taxes under the new Labour government.
Well, after paying £120 million in taxes over his lifetime, the millionaire entrepreneur says he won't let any more of his wealth go to the Treasury.
Yes, Mullins, who sold Pimlico Plumbers for £145 million, he plans to move his assets to Spain and Dubai, where he believes ambition is better rewarded and appreciated.
Well, delighted to say he's joining us now in the studio, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, Charlie Mullins, OBE. Charlie,
Hi, Tom. Hi.
You're quitting Britain. Is this not a bit unpatriotic of you?
Well, you can call it what you want, but I'm just not. I'm moving abroad to protect my assets for my family. I mean, you know, they're going to increase inheritance tax, going to increase capital gains. You know, it's just destroying Britain. It's just not practical no more to be here. And, you know, I've paid, they say, over 100 mil into the system. And I'm afraid to say that, you know, Starmer is just driving away sort of investors, entrepreneurs, even just normal people that are on 100k or 150k, they also want to leave. It's the wrong way to go about it. And unfortunately, they're very anti-business. You know, maybe we was better off with the Conservatives in, if I'm being honest, because at least they didn't have all this increase in taxes and the workers' rights. That, you know, I'm pretty sad to be leaving, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's quite a big decision, but, you know, I'm no longer prepared to keep putting into the system and let them waste it.
Now, the tax burden was pretty shocking under the Conservatives as well. Were you considering it before this Labour government came into power?
Not at all, no.
No, so you were going to stay here, all your plans were to stay in the United Kingdom. It is since Starmer got into power and the fear of the budget, what's coming?
Look, of course, Conservatives have done a lot of damage over the years, but I just feel that Labour are going to make it worse and just make it not practical to live here anymore. I've already invested in a new business here, a family business, similar to the one before. But, you know, I'm not going to be on the payroll. I'm not going to be involved other than, you know, my expertise. I'm just not prepared to give the government any more of my money, you know, and be treated the way we're treated, you know.
I mean, it is extraordinary looking at all of the rumours. None of this is confirmed yet, but pretty much every financial analyst will tell you that the budget is likely to raise, perhaps even double, capital gains tax. Now, it's only paid by about 5% of people, but the people that pay it are the people who create the jobs.
That's right.
The people who create the wealth, the people who invest in businesses. Now, if we go from 20% capital gains tax to 40% capital gains tax, there are going to be a lot more people potentially following your lead.
Well, you're totally right there. And I mean, what's quite annoying is the Labour government are denying that people are leaving. They've been moving their money out for 6 months. They're leaving left, right and centre. And it will continue to happen that way. And he's coming up with, he thinks that, the UK is the best place to invest in business. I mean, he should do that on oath because that ain't right.
That's what he said in response, or at least the Number 10 spokesperson said that when it was put to them that you were going to be leaving this country. That's what they said. Oh, no, Britain is the best place in the entire world to do business.
We've got millionaire emigration.
Yeah.
The only countries that have more millionaire emigration than the UK are China and Russia.
Now, look, as I say, we're not in a good position as it is, but these will absolutely destroy the economy. The country go bankrupt, and I think we'll be in recession very soon. And, you know, I've been speaking to different billionaires and millionaires over the last week, and they're already gone. There's Alfie Best gone to Monaco. There's other people that are leaving, Dubai, Italy, anywhere but the UK, because they just don't know how to look after people that are contributing to the economy.
And landlords are selling up as well, pretty near to record rates. Lots of new regulation coming their way too. People with assets may well be targeted come this. But what do you think of this, all this talk of this £22 billion financial black hole? This is being used as the justification to scrap the winter fuel payments, to slap taxes on wealth creators and people with investments and the like. Have they actually managed to talk down the country so badly that now this is the reason why 9,500 millionaires might leave the country this year?
Yeah, undoubtedly. Look, I mean...
They stuffed this up.
They're using the black hole thing as if it's never been there, but they say that 9 billion of that is down to pay rises and costs of the civil service. The fact that what they're doing to the pensions, I think that's the final straw. I mean, you know, how disrespectful is that? They're paid into the system all their life and they're I mean, it's just like the new Robin Hood Starmer, isn't it? It's robbing everybody to feed the migrants and the illegals.
It is extraordinary, given that we have been here before as a country. We had net emigration until the 1980s. Then we became a pro-business country. We saw Canary Wharf rocket up into the sky. We saw businesses like yours create wealth and jobs. We stood on our own 2 feet in the world again. Do you think that we might be going back to those sort of dark days before the 1980s, before the wealth creation boom, where people used to more leave this country than come into it?
Yeah, well, undoubtedly. I mean, I think they've increased the tax rate there for the highest earners. A lot of people that went to America that, you know, had good money or was earning good money. Undoubtedly, we're going backwards. I mean, the best times we had was when Margaret Thatcher was in there, and as she says, you know, we're going to run out of money, the socialists will run out of money, other people's money, not their own.
I mean, when Keir Starmer stood up and said things are going to get worse before they get better, I thought there's going to be a lot of people with me who think, well, I don't want to stick around to see how worse it's going to get. Thank you very much indeed, Charlie Mullins, OBE, founder of Pimlico Plumbers. Well, in other news, a landmark shift in public health policy is set to take effect next year. That's as Labour confirms a watershed ban on junk food advertising before 9 o'clock in the evening, with online ads banned entirely.
Extraordinary. This move marks the first in a series of measures aimed at tackling Britain's worsening health crisis and curbing soaring NHS spending, with Sir Keir Starmer pledging further preventative steps. Now, take a look at these pictures on your screens now. We can get them back. We can get them back because these pictures are soon to become illegal on television. Our time of day. Will we even be able to show a burger? Will we even be able to show, lovely Smarties?
Ooh, a little Smartie.
Enjoy this while you still can. We're a free country for a few days longer, perhaps, but soon all this will be taken from you.
He was dipping a chip into some ice cream there. Some soft whip ice cream, nice looking burger. Oh, I'm getting hungry. It is lunchtime, this show, so, you know, we do without. But we have been out and about today, actually, to see what you outside think about this decision.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think a lot of children have issues with high sugar content. Also, this food is very cheap. A lot of people can't afford nutritious food for their children. So I don't think it's a bad idea in principle.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. Bans are they're quite okay in terms of they have their purpose, but we're in 2024. I think most of the children, younger than, they have spent times on iPads and iPhones, etc., and parents put them there. So I don't think it will have that much of a difference.
I know there's two ways of looking at it, but to my own feeling is it's got to such a state that somebody has to say something,
I know it's very popular to say that, it's so cheap, all of this fast food is cheap. It's not cheap. What's cheap is buying a bag of carrots for 20p. What's cheap is buying some loose bananas. You can get them for pennies. You can't get a Big Mac for less than £5.
OK, yeah, that's true. And, if you chop up all your vegetables, you can make a hearty stew for
Buy
20p.
some fruit.
20p.
Buy some veg.
But, if density of calories, you see. If you get one McDonald's, you get a huge amount of sustenance, don't you?
Yeah, because it's a lot of food.
Carrots,
it's more expensive.
They're going to hit the sides, are they?
Yeah, but
you couldn't live off carrots.
I have lived off carrots. First moved to London, tell you what, rent was through the roof. I wasn't paid very much. I was living off carrots every blooming day.
Baked beans.
Yeah, baked beans, carrots, lemon ice student.
Anyway, should we speak to Tom Slater, our guest on this, editor at Spike magazine. Tom, we're just joking about these adverts that will be banned. They'll be confined to the history books in the future. What's this all about, do you think? I mean, Keir Starmer says it's all about saving the NHS. Do you believe him?
No, I think he's just a paternalist and a Puritan. I think that's been made clear not just by this policy, but all the other ones that he's rolled out. When we've been talking in recent weeks about the smoking ban being extended to outdoor smoking areas, the prohibition of cigarettes. They want to do health MOTs in people's workplaces as if you want to be weighed in front of your boss. It's going to be an attractive prospect to many people. And it's worth saying that this particular policy, it's been on the back burner for some time. Both Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak were signed up to this watershed ban for junk food advertising. And they just kept pushing it down the road, not least because it's going to be a hell of a thing to pull off. What is junk food and what isn't? I mean, junk food is often just, it's a kind of class marker a lot of the time. They just think of Big Macs and so on. But even though you can get Pret sandwiches, which are just as calorific. So it's something that's been coming down the pipe for some time. But I think the fact that Starmer has grasped it so gleefully tells you something about his ideology and his view of the world, which is, as I say, very paternalistic.
Here is that when Keir Starmer became Prime Minister, he stood on the steps of Downing Street and said, "I will lead a government that treads more lightly on your lives." I mean, he's doing precisely the opposite.
Absolutely. And I think hopefully those words will come back to haunt him in one way, shape or form. I mean, you saw from your Vox Pops there that a lot of these policies, excuse me, individually can be quite popular. But I think we're reaching a point where people are starting to think this is a bit much. We even saw that in response to the pub garden smoking ban, a kind of sense of, is this really tipping from something that's just fair and about other people to just punishing people for their own lifestyles? And I think the problem is this is when you've got a government that doesn't really stand for very much, that doesn't have a lot of vision, which doesn't have a clear sense of where the country needs to go, which I think is very true of this government in many ways. They tend to reach for this stuff in pursuit of a legacy. It gives them a purpose. They give up their responsibilities about managing the country and decide it's their responsibility to manage our lifestyles. So I think because of all of that, we should expect more of this stuff from the Labour Party. The fact that we've seen so much of it already is quite telling, I think.
Yeah, it's also easy. It's an easy lever to pull, isn't it? I mean, a regulation on junk food ads is far easier than dealing with the tremendous backlog in the NHS or reform of the NHS, although to their credit, they are at least talking about reform. But yeah, pulling these little regulation levers, so easy.
And it's
lazy.
It's not going to do anything other than stop new entrants. I mean, no one's going to forget that McDonald's exists. If anything, Tom...
That's a good point,
This has the point that it will entrench the big businesses that are already there, but heaven forfend someone new opens a new shop that might compete with the established players. I wouldn't be surprised if McDonald's was in favour of this ad ban, because it keeps the established players in place.
No, absolutely. And also, who really thinks this is going to have any impact, really, if we're talking about children's health? As you say, they're not going to forget that McDonald's exists. They're not going to not walk past the chicken shop on the way home from school, although that's something that they want to get very involved in terms of where fast food outlets can be. I mean, we have a junk food advertising ban on Transport for London, on the tube and the buses and so on. Childhood obesity went up in the 2 years after that ban was brought into place in London. And it led to this absurd situation of Transport for London having to remove even its own advertisements because they had images of cakes in the shape of the Underground logo. So it's one of those things where it doesn't work. It's going to put a lot of burden on industry and block out new entrants. And it also projects such a low view of people that we really do just see a picture of a tantalising treat and must therefore instantly run out and go and get it. And it's not just about children. This is their approach to everyone, I think.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed. Tom Slater, editor at Spy.